It was the first Sunday of December in the year 1941. Americans were listening to their radios, sitting down to dinner, or settling in for a long winter's nap when everything changed. The news broke.
Honolulu, where 160,000 persons physically felt Japan's dastardly stab in the back.
The Japanese had attacked Pearl Harbor. The United States was at war. The next 4 years would rewrite the way Americans worked, played, and lived as the nation responded to the largest armed conflict in the history of the world. The war affected Americans at every level, in almost every aspect of their lives. People were urged to conserve resources and limit their consumption. A system of rationing was established, and many goods, including gasoline, clothing, meat, and butter, could only be purchased with ration cards. People grew fruits and vegetables in victory gardens to help supplement rationed food. There were also community scrap metal and rubber drives so that these materials could be recycled for the war effort. To help pay for the war, the US government practically commanded people to buy war bonds, an investment that was essentially a loan to the government. By taking money out of circulation, war bonds also helped keep inflation in check. The war ramped up manufacturing for munitions, equipment, and food, suddenly creating a lot of jobs. One problem: 16 million Americans enlisted in the military, which created a vacuum in the domestic workforce. Women, not permitted to serve in combat, stepped in to fill roles traditionally held by men. Women factory workers were made famous by the Rosie the Riveter poster. "We can do it," she declared, and they did. Over 6 million women signed on for manufacturing jobs, and that was just the beginning. This manufacturing boom also contributed to the growth of American cities, particularly those in Southern California and the Southern US. The country was working overtime and saving every last scrap, but it was important for morale that America not completely abandon its pre-war way of life. Popular pastimes like baseball and movies continued to entertain the public at home and the troops abroad. As World War II ended in 1945, so too did many of the special measures and restrictions imposed on the American people. But not everything was so easily sorted back into its old place. The war's effect on the American home front, particularly for women and for industry, would reverberate for decades to come.
Young people in large numbers came out and joined what became known as the Red Guards. These largely terroristic organizations were used to publicly humiliate, assault, and in some cases, even murder political enemies of Mao and the Communist Party.